Welcome back into the Ohio State Football Report. I am Tom Downey. Apologies for sounding very sniffly, but it happens sometimes when you're on the road. We're taking a look, though, at the Ohio State recruiting rumors out there. Some notable updates before spring practices get going in mid-March. Now, we want to continue to grow our channel, even in a bit of a down year, so to speak. Help us do that by sharing today's show on social media. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, text, whatever. All the shares help us get these videos in front of new eyeballs and then get more subs and more views and more everything here at the Ohio State Football Report. All right, let's go to the recruiting side. First up, OSU is in the mix for 2 of the top-rated safeties in the class of 2026. Now, of note, OSU, led by McElroy, helped sign 3 different safeties in the class of 2025. So you're in okay shape right now. I think more depth is needed, though. So the defensive backs committee, right? Devin Sanchez, who could play a big role in 2025 right away as a true freshman. Fahim Delane, Deshaun Stewart, and then maybe Cody Adid as an athlete. Probably will do some safety stuff there. In general, some years are going to be heavier in safety. Some years you'll be a little bit lighter, but you're going to lose Caleb Downs next year. So you're going to need more safeties coming into the room here in the not-too-distant future. So first up, in one of the top targets here for the defense help being led by Matt Guerreri is, there's like the safety scouting and stuff there, is 5-star safety Blaine Bradford. First off, elite name. I think Blaine, Blaze are awesome names for NFL, or for future, hopefully, NFL players. Now, Bradford hails from Louisiana. He is currently in the 24/7 Sports Composite rankings, a 5-star recruit. He's number 16 overall, the number 1 ranked safety in the class of 2026. So the top 3, if I gave you like 5 guesses, you'd probably be able to get the next 2 pretty early. You'd probably guess LSU pretty quickly, and you'd be right. Texas would probably be on your list as well. And then the Buckeyes. That will not be an easy battle to win. The LSU boy, Texas pretty close as well. Well, that'd be a nice get for Ohio State. And you could point to Caleb Downs, and when you see Latham Ransom get drafted top 150, whatever ends up going, always a good selling point for recruits. OSU also in the mix for 4-star safety Bralan Womack. So again, another top-rated safety. His Final 4 currently sits at Ohio State, Auburn, Texas A&M, and then Florida as well. There's room for both, but obviously if you had to pick one, you'd rather end up getting Bradford. That's at least if we trust the recruiting services these days. So I'm sure you guys spend a lot of time with recruiting, or at least keep your eyes and ears peeled. Name a player who you want to sign in the 2026 recruiting class. Let me know at the pinned comments of today's show. If the ad comes here on YouTube, great. Take advantage of it. Head down there and let me know. Next, I want to break down 4 more 2026 targets, not specifically at safety this time around. These are guys we haven't, really discussed, and we'll mention some of the predictions from Bill Kurelic of 24/7 Sports. First up, Felix Ojo. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. This is a 5-star offensive tackle, number 26 overall. He has a top 2 at the moment, Texas and then the Buckeyes. Now, of note, Bill has Texas as his official prediction. And whenever you have the non-team-based guy predicting for the team, that's normal. A pretty good indication of what's going to happen there. Of note, though, Ojo still has an official visit lined up to go visit the Buckeyes. So, door's not closed all the way right now, but they'll have to make up some ground. Let's go to Cam Brooks, the number 115 overall, number 12 ranked edge, a 4-star recruit. The Buckeyes have frankly missed a couple years in a row on some top targets at the edge rushing spot. So, getting someone like Brooks would be a nice addition here. He's got 4 scheduled visits: Ohio State, Florida State, Cal, and Clemson, which, talk about being spread out nice and wide for Brooks. I don't know why Cal is in there, but I will make note he lives less than an hour from Tallahassee. So I think visiting Florida State isn't a huge surprise. It's also a really easy one. Like, you might as well go visit. I'll make note, though. Sometimes the guys don't want to go to the school they grew up closest to. They want to get to a different destination. They don't want to necessarily have to be so close to mom and dad and everyone. They want some new experiences there. Kurelic, by the way, is predicting Ohio State for Brooks. So some optimism, let's put it that way, on that front. Now, you can get the Ohio State National Championship gear over on Fanatics. Go to chatsports.com/OSU champs. Link will be in the comments section and the description of today's show. That's chatsports.com/OSU champs. Hats, hoodies, t-shirts, and anything else in between. They have you covered with the official national championship gear for your national champion Ohio State Buckeyes. Links in the comments and the description of today's show. Let's go to Elbert Hill, who is number 29 overall, just a 4-star, but is the number 1 ranked recruit at the current moment. The early crystal balls from 24/7 Sports all point to Ohio State for Hill. He is an Akron-born player, of course, so that's, or I guess not born, but from Akron. I should always be more specific on that front there. I would also keep an eye out for Oregon here to potentially make a run at Elbert Hill. There's been a lot of OSU-Oregon battles the past year-ish and change there. But I think being from Ohio, Akron, corner, I think a lot of that fits well, needs-wise and fit-wise, for Hill to end up in Columbus. So what is your confidence level then in landing Elbert Hill? If you don't know, that's fine too, but you can guess a number. 1 to 10 in the comments section of today's show. Then there's Will Conroy, the 3-star offensive lineman, just 529 overall, despite being currently committed to Oklahoma. And sometimes when you have big-name programs that have a commitment from a guy out to the top 500, those end up jumping a little bit there. Again, per 24/7 Sports, O-line coach Tyler Bowen has been in contact with Conroy. He is in Ohio, and originally he currently goes to IMG Academy, which, again, normally you see those IMG boys ranked a little bit higher. Maybe he'll rise in this recruiting process there. But that's an offensive lineman name to stash and file away. Now, if you want more Ohio State recruiting updates, great, you've come to the right spot. Hit that sub button, youtube.com/GoBucks, for more Ohio State football coverage, even in kind of a boring period with the spring practice session just a few days, week and a half away. Before we go, I do want to acknowledge what Cardale Jones had to say. He didn't come to play school, he can't play football, but he did call the Ohio State-Michigan rivalry watered down. I'll kind of paraphrase here with what Jones had to say. With the new era of the CFP, to me, the rivalry gets watered down a little bit. And at the end of the day, both teams can go into week 12 being number 1, number 2 in the conference. And guess what happens week 13? You get a rematch. I anticipate to see, especially with a great recruiting class by both schools, we're going to see here in the near future that OSU and Michigan play each other 3 times in a year. It's no disrespect to the rivalry, no disrespect to the new generation mentality. Don't get me wrong, neither side wants to lose this game. But I think it meant a little bit more to us because, one, recruiting wasn't as nationally based as it is now. So you had guys from the Midwest who were impacted by that rivalry at an early stage in life. And then on the new dynamic, it isn't as critical if you win or lose that game going down to the end of the year because 12 teams are going to get in. If you solidify yourself as a top 2 team in the Big Ten, you have a great chance of making it to the CFP. And that's ultimately going to give you a chance to win a national title. And I frankly don't disagree with that here from Cardale. I mean, you saw it this year. If you were not in a 12-team playoff, if you were still in a 4-team playoff, let's think about how different the current outlook could look for the Buckeyes. They won the national championship this year. If they lost to Michigan, didn't make the college football playoff, they might have fired Ryan Day. Instead, there's extra teams that get in. The Buckeyes get in despite not making it to the Big Ten championship game, and they go on to win a well-deserved, earned national championship. You will never see the type of impact the game has like you had in 2006. You're not going to have number 1 versus number 2 and have it matter the same way it used to. You're just not going to because if it's 1 versus 2, you'll play again next week or a week and a half, whatever it is in the 2 weeks in the Big Ten championship. You might play them again in the CFP. That's all possible. Now, that's part of what's different now. It's not the same the way that it used to be. And the games that matter change too. Maybe not so much for Ohio State. You can lose the game and still be okay. Maybe probably lose 2 games and still be okay. But other games matter now. Indiana, Penn State used to never matter when those 2 teams would play. This upcoming year, if they're both at 1 loss or 2, now it matters. Oregon, Penn State matters a lot more than maybe it would have done, previously, especially if it's later in the season. But I kind of agree with Cardale. That rivalry still matters. It's still the game, but it's not the same level of impact that it had previously.